All right, check it out, guys. Hey, this is Josh with Carl's Mower and Saw, and you got yourself a brand new TS 142K Husqvarna lawnmower. Today we're going to talk about what you need to know to not only service it and use it, just to get the most out of it, to end some of the frustration that you may end up having if we don't spend time watching this video. And there's a few things that we've learned over the years that really do frustrate customers, and I'm going to point out two of them right now. The first one is, come follow me, is this thing does not want to roll very well. And this is typical of all hydrostatic machines, and we'll talk about what a hydrostatic is in a minute, but they don't want to roll. There's a lever right on the back, a little silver rod that we pull out, and that makes this thing roll much easier. See that silver rod? Okay. Frustration ender number one is, how do I roll this thing? Why would I need to roll it? Well, you know, I just want to move it from here to there in the garage, and I don't want to start it up. I have a dead battery. That can happen over winter. Or, oh man, something bad happened, right? I have a dry belt that broke, or you know, things do happen. I hate to say it, but so that is my roll valve. And then the other thing that I want to point out, and then let's get into more of the stuff about this. The other thing I want to point out is right here on the starting. So let's go over here. And when I start this machine, I push in the brake and I start it. And once it starts, it returns to this standard run position. At that point in time, I can engage the blades and I can start mowing the lawn. And I'm mowing forward and everything's good. And I turn left and everything's good. And I turn right and everything's good. But as soon as my foot hits this reverse, it's going to die. And you're going to go, what the heck? Well, this is when you have to manually take your key and move it to this position right here. There's a backwards arrow. So it's going to default to what I say, it's going to default to safe, but then I have to manually override, sign the waiver that says I will not do anything dumb, right? I have put it in my own writing that I will now be able to back up. So once it's in that position, you can mow forwards and backwards and left and right all day long without it dying on you. Okay. Those are two things I wanted to get out of the way. Now that you know that, let's talk a little bit more about this machine and what you need to know to start, to operate, to maintain. We have a 42-inch Husqvarna cutting deck, and we have a Kohler-powered engine right here, the TS 142K. Easy to maintain, easy to take care of. How do we start it? We're going to start by getting on the machine, and we're going to push in the brake, okay? On the side, we have our throttle and our choke. I'm going to make sure the throttle is at that midpoint or higher. I'm going to pull out the choke lever and I'm going to turn the key. It's now started up and it's running. I'll take my foot off the brake, and on my right side is my transmission, my drive. If I push forward, the further I push, the faster I go. If I push the outer, the right lever, I'm going to go backwards. Again, the further I push, the faster I go. There is a parking brake on this thing. The beauty of the parking brake is it allows me to get off the machine and do things while it's still running, as long as the blades are off. So if I've shut the blades off, I push on the brake and I lift up on this lever right here on the side, the P, and let go with my foot. The parking brake is now set. And I can get off, whoops, and maybe I have a bagger on it, or maybe there's some crap left in the lawn by the kids, or maybe a branch fell, or the dog left a bone out, or I've got some molehills I need to level. So with that, I can get off the machine and do some maintenance. The other thing we have as we move across is a cruise control. Now, I personally don't use this cruise control, but some people have a large lawn and they appreciate the fact that they can push forward on this pedal, lift up on the cruise control, and it's going to set it and it's going to keep you mowing at 2, 3, 3.5 miles per hour as you mow. Blade engagement right here, this lever, this is up and over, engages the blade. So a very simple blade engagement. Again, remember that if you're going to do any backing up, that you have this put in the override position that allows you to back up and mow. We do recommend that you engage the blades at least half throttle, and then make sure that you're always mowing at full throttle. Really, these are made to mow at a full speed for quality of cut, for belt life, for all those things. And then when you disengage, go ahead, idle it down, and disengage the blades. Those blades need to stop in under 5 seconds. There are brake pads that stop the blades. So if I'm going 1,000 miles per hour or, that'd be really fast. How about 100 miles per hour or 50 miles per hour? What's gonna be easier on my brake life, right? So use that off ramp, throttle it down, and then disengage the blades. Okay, you couldn't see, but I'll just point out real quick. This is my forward, this is my reverse. The further I push, the faster I go. Got a cup holder here on the side. I can flip the seat up, and it is an adjustable seat. I need to take this wing knob off, and then I can move this seat forward or backwards. Here's my fuel fill. Try to make sure you're always running an ethanol-free fuel. Try to go through your fuel fast. And then I've got my height of cut here on the side, up from really about a 1 inch up to about 3.5 inch range. Let's pop the hood. Let's get underneath the hood. We've got our battery here. Life of a battery can be incredible, right? It can last, I'll see batteries last 7 years, and sometimes I'll see batteries last 2 years. So how you treat your battery in the off season is the key to that. Do I charge that battery? Do I let it sit and go all the way dead? Moving forward to the engine, we have an air filter. We're getting into, in our area, we're getting into the dusty time of year where this air filter is likely gonna get nasty and dirty as we're mowing molehills and dead grass. So that air filter, easy to get to. Tap it out. Can I see good light through it? And with the sun like this, how can I not see good light through it? But keep up on this air filter. We had a mower come in recently for service. They had 7.5 hours on it. And I took the air filter out, and that was crazy dirty. And I thought to myself, how is that? And I called the lady who had been using it, and she said, oh yeah, I had a bunch of molehills and a lot of long grass. And so as she was mowing, I can only imagine the cloud of dust that was just all around. Well, this 725cc engine is just sucking that stuff in, right? It is, and this filter is doing its best to stop all of that dirt from entering into the cylinder and roasting it. So we put a pre-filter on. That's a good upgrade. You know, these filters always come without the foam wrap from the factory for some reason. When you do a service, get the foam wrap. That'll extend the life of the filter. But try not to mow over those molehills to really get that cloud of dust going around you. Okay, right in the front here on the right side, and then on my left side will be my spark plugs. Okay, it's a twin cylinder. You should be changing those spark plugs annually. We should be changing that filter annually. We should be changing the oil annually. My dipstick right here, we're gonna run a 1030 oil in this Kohler engine, pull it out, wipe it off, put it in, check it, and then if you come around, my oil filter and fuel filter are hiding right here below the dipstick. So my oil filter's right here. I can get to my oil filter. This actually pulls up and off so I can expose it. I'm not gonna do it because I have to take out this little plug, but there's my oil filter, there's my fuel filter. All right, what else do we need to know about this? Deck washout and grease. We're almost missed a few things. A couple more important things, and we'll go back to this oil real quick. This tube is probably hiding in your hood if you bought one of these, sitting right up in here. This tube is for the oil drain. This hooks up to your oil drain to extend your oil evacuation of sorts past the frame so that it goes into the oil drain pan easier. So what is that tube? That's for oil drain. I have a deck washout on this. This here hooks up to my garden hose, plugs into here. I then turn on the water. I then turn on the blades, and those blades moving that water almost acts like a pressure washer to clean the deck. It works really well. It also can cause all kinds of problems. We see this, it's been a cool option on mowers for probably 20 years now. We see people that use it properly and it does a lot of good. We see people who use it improperly and it wrecks things. So the negative of washing my deck is I can ruin my bearings, my spindle bearings, okay? The spindle bearings are not cheap. They don't like moisture a lot, and they really don't like to get wet when they're hot. So the proper way to use this deck washout is first let your mower cool down a little bit. So get done mowing, give it 5 or 10 minutes to cool down. The problem is most people, once they're done for 5 or 10 minutes, they're not gonna go back to their mower, okay? At which point in time you wait till the next day, and now that grass that's underneath is hard like rock, cement, concrete, and it ain't gonna come off. So 5 or 10 minutes, you know, for me, that's when I'm gonna grab my leaf blower and I'm gonna clean up the debris that I left on the driveway, right? So I'm gonna grab my blower, I'm gonna clean off the patio, the driveway, I'm gonna come back, hook up the hose, everything's cooled down, I'm gonna fire it up, I'm gonna run it for about 2 or 3 minutes, letting it wash it, right? Clean off the deck. I'm gonna get off, I'm gonna shut off the water, disconnect the water, and now I'm gonna move off of my mess, right? And I'm gonna run it again for about a minute, really to dry it out, to burn off the moisture that's on the bearings potentially, and just put it away. That works really well. If you don't follow those steps, you will not be a fan of this deck washout. You'll end up thinking, this is dumb, this is horrible. And then moving to the front, often overlooked are a couple grease points. So we've got a grease point on the axle, we got one on each side, there's my Zerk right there. And then I've got one on the wheel, if I can find it, right here on the back. You're not able to see it, but we have grease points on the wheel bearings. Again, often overlooked. We replace a ton of wheel bearings or have complaints about how hard things turn because we fail to grease the bearings. So remember, greasing the bearings, washing the deck right, keeping up on our air filter, changing the oil at a proper maintenance interval, really between that 50 and 75 hours. Remember about the backup, the parking brake, the rolling. You're gonna love this TS 142K tractor that you've picked up for your property. If you're mowing the right size lawn, sub 1 acre, and it's a fairly smooth lawn, enjoy your new Husqvarna riding mower. We look forward to seeing you soon at Carl's Mower and Saw.